What's good, everyone?
Welcome back to the B&E Project.
Where we're here to help you break and enter into the creative world by discussing the latest tech
and topics of 2019.
Kind of bummed about that logo thing. I'm gonna have to redo it all.
Yeah. Oh, it'll all come together. It's just like us learning new tricks today.
Yeah, new tricks. New
New
trick Friday.
messing with the lens and then messing with audio.
Yep.
Audio sounds good now.
Yeah. Hopefully we've got the audio dialed in now, and that we're going to do one of those real soon. Is about the audio and the
Mm-hmm.
importance, and hopefully we can save everybody some trials and errors,
Trials and tribulations
trials and tribulations
of
on
the sound.
on how to get it done right. But I think today
Yep.
a good topic for us to hit would be, since you just recently had a photo shoot,
Yeah.
we can talk about some of the work that went involved in to getting ready for that photo shoot.
Yeah, you scouted with me.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good time.
Yeah, a lot of people just think, oh, I'm going to post a few pictures up on the gram, and somebody's going to see it and they're going to message me, and then we're going to go out and they're going to pay me lots of money,
Yep.
and then we're just going to make magic happen while we're out there.
Yeah.
Although I think that some people can do that.
Mm-hmm.
You can have that just raw talent where you can just show up and bam, get
Yeah.
some killer shots. But for those of us who like to plan,
Mm-hmm.
walk us through kind of what your setup was.
Yeah, so in lifestyle shooting and things like that, and every shot that you take has a location, so it's not just lifestyle shots. But for that specific shoot, we were doing lifestyle, and I don't think you had ever done a lifestyle before, right?
Mm-mm.
Shot, and it's a little uh, um, thing not little thing, but people like taking professional photos of their lifestyle. Like, hey, this is me walking. This is how I look sitting on a bench, and I'm super cool. And I like shooting those photos and getting the angles and capturing like the best version of someone while they're out and about.
Yeah, not only have I never taken those kind of photos before, you were like, yeah, I'm doing lifestyle photos, and I'm like, oh, what is this lifestyle you speak of? Like, what does this mean? And you're like, just lifestyle photos. And
Yeah.
so I think for those, because it took a second to actually get it across to me, really, what is a lifestyle photo? Like,
Yeah.
just in motion,
In
everyday
motion
shots.
every day,
So
living your best life.
so what I'd be like, so just walking across the street, and you do that, just like stop mid step,
Yeah.
pose for
So
the camera.
So a little bit, but you're kind of like getting people in action and in motion too.
Mm,
So you're trying to capture them while modeling, quote unquote, but being as natural as they can.
I got you.
Um, so yeah, it's a different way to shoot.
Do you have like a go to move where you're like, this is a money shot every time?
uh,
I know if I ask them to do this, walk across the street and look at the stop sign, it's gonna work every time. Or
yeah, I mean, yeah, I would say it's just it kind of goes on uh the individual.
mm,
Like some people you'll shoot and you'll be like, man, just dead on each time. Like they look really good. This last shoot that I went on, it was a mother and daughter one. And you know, it was their best looks, I think, were looking away, but at kind of like a certain angle, like
mm,
maybe a 45-degree angle. I don't know. I'm not good at geometry. But like they had this slight angle, and each time I shot one of those photos I was like, oh, that's money. Or
mm.
like the little head tilt with the eyes and stuff like that. Like you just kind of any person has kind of their own like
My wife calls
unique.
it her good side.
Yeah.
It's my good side.
Yeah, capture the good side.
Yeah.
And so it was fun with them is I could have them walking, and I was just at that moment taking shots. So it was more like you're in natural motion hanging out with each other. click, click, click. Hey, walk towards me 15, 20 feet. Okay, stop. And each time I saw a certain shot, I just, went. Now, sometimes the walking shots can stink because you can, take way too many photos.
Mhm.
Rather overshoot than undershoot.
Absolutely.
But
So
yeah,
before we get too far off topic and down a whole nother subject,
right.
what 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 was some of the things you did to prepare before you went out there? Because I know being with you, I know what they are, but I mean, just for the audience, like what were what were the things that we did before we met them the day or you met them that day?
Yeah. So, the first thing is asking how many different looks that they want to have and how many wardrobe changes.
Mm,
So that kind of helps and determine what the client's looking for. I knew that they were looking at 3 to 4 different looks. One was with a cap and gown. So we found the location that we'd decided to use on the square for the city that we're in. And on the square, it says the city in the background, and it looks like an institution. So I knew like, okay, that's shot number one.
mm,
Like, and one of the other things too, for a little tip is to make sure that you don't have to bring your camera out and just shoot some shots, but bring your cell phone. And then you kind of like know the locations, like, okay, before I go in, like I know I'm gonna shoot here and I might compose it like this, but we'll see. Then determined from that, I was like, okay, if they're going to be in 3 different wardrobes or 4, whatever I do after that, I look for about 2 extra locations. So I'm looking for about 5 at about that moment, maybe 6 if we're somewhere where they might not like,
mhm.
right? I mean, people, they're going to be trusting you, but sometimes they're getting in a situation they're like, I don't like that background.
Yeah, or what if it's like crowded full of people,
Hmm.
or there you should God forbid you show up and there's an event going on that day that you forgot to check into.
Yeah.
I've had that happen where you like plan like, oh yeah, we're gonna be doing this, and then you show up and they got some kind of carnival parade set up going on, and you're like, well,
Hmm.
back to the drawing board. So
Right.
that's actually a good idea for everyone to take note on is have multiple sets that you can go to in case you don't like the one you're at or there's something going on preventing you from doing it. You can just say, you know what, no problem, we're going to the next shot.
Hmm. And one thing too, and you're really good at talking to me about this is make sure that you're aware of how light is and it's going to affect. So like remember the one spot that we were at with trees.
Mm-hmm.
Well, trees can be very beautiful and then they can be also very like detrimental in a shot as well
Mm-hmm.
because the light could hit someone in a certain area and then you can try to post edit it. You can try. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But you might, in your viewfinder sometimes, given your camera, everybody has a different model, that you might not be able to see some of that light. So you need to put the camera down. Okay, before I take this shot, how's the light affecting you? Am I gonna get only half your body covered? Am I gonna get full body covered? Is there a little spot that's gonna come like right here on your forehead that you
Mm-hmm.
can't get rid of?
Yep.
That was huge. And also knowing that the light is going to change determined upon what time of day. So, like for a lifestyle shoot, I like shooting in the mornings.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the great things is when we went out and how you helped was said, okay, well, if you're out here in the morning, the sun's probably going to face this way on this building.
Yeah, because we went out at what, like 4 in the afternoon,
Yeah.
something like that. Like
Yeah.
the sun was on the completely opposite side
Hmm.
of everything that we were going to be shooting.
Yeah.
And sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, that's a big difference. And you
All
were
right.
like, oh, I'm going to shoot in the morning. I'm like, well, it's going to change everything that we're looking at
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, definitely. And for that, we ended up shooting, I think at like 7:30 a.m. or something like that. I wanted to shoot a little earlier. They got there a little later. Nothing's wrong with that. Happens. Whatever. As long, as you're prepared and everybody's out there having fun. So look, that was a huge thing is saying, okay, by the time I get there in the morning, this how the light's gonna be different. And this is gonna change here and this is gonna change there. Also, one more tip for if you're doing a lifestyle shoot in the morning is make sure that wherever you're shooting, the businesses and things like that, it's much easier to shoot if they're not open.
Hmm.
So if you want to get somebody out and about living their best life in the, best habitat, yeah, it's great. Shoot them at like 7 a.m., 8 a.m.,
When that good
even
light's coming up.
good light. If they're about that life, 6:30, 6:45, depending upon where you are for the light. We're just talking about being here in our state, but make sure that it's easier for you there, especially if you have like anxiety or anything like that, because people are going to be driving around, people are going to be walking the street, and you're going to have a camera. And if you're new to this and you want to feel more comfortable, go early.
Or like me, I'm an introvert. I don't want to talk to anybody. And
Hmm.
like you see me out on the street with my camera, don't talk to me because
Right.
I'm not very good at striking up conversations with strangers. And being out in a crowd like that, holding a big camera, perhaps a softbox or maybe a diffusion panel
Oh
that
yeah.
you can hold up over them, you're drawing a lot of attention to yourself, and it
Mhm.
never fails. Whenever we go out and shoot, somebody's always like, "Hey, what kind of camera do you use? Where did you get that?
Yeah.
Somebody always has some sort of question for you. So yeah, it's a very good idea. Go early in the morning or at that golden hour at night and
Yeah.
make sure the businesses are closed. That's a good tip.
Oh yeah. I've had a few friends run into people that are like, "Oh, get out of here with the camera." I have yet to, because I try to, if working with clients, I'm like, "Hey, we're going early." Or, we're going uh one of the roughest locations was a park, and it was like, I think my first photo shoot. Yeah, it was a park. And we went like the worst time of day with all these people, and I was trying to get these shots, and I was like, this is bad. And
Hmm.
then I realized, okay, that's gonna make me comfortable. One more tip, dependent upon who you have. Um, I forgot where I learned it. I think no, I learned it. I watch Manny Ortiz sometimes on YouTube, and he looks like he shoots more lifestyle, but it's more models. One of the things that he did, and I have a little Beats pill, which I figured out on lifestyle shoots too. Go on Spotify, iTunes, Spotify or iTunes sponsors, but anyway, go on one of those and get a nice little playlist. And I have a little carabiner, put it on there,
Hmm.
play a little music.
Hmm.
It eases people and they relax just a little bit more, because now there's like a song and there's another distraction. And then you can be like, hey, look over your left shoulder, look over your right shoulder, move your arm this way, move your leg that way. And they're much more chill listening to, whatever music that they like. Pick music that they like, as opposed to like, hey, I'm just out here and it's silent and this guy's just here and all I hear is click, click, click,
Yeah,
click, click.
there's that awkward quietness, and you're
Mm.
like, smile, click, click. Yeah.
Yeah.
So outside of scouting the location and knowing what time of day, knowing the different outfit changes that they want to have for you,
Yeah.
would you recommend getting together a shot list?
Yeah.
What how do you use what do you use
Yeah.
to get your shot list? Like, do you use Instagram for inspiration? Do you screenshot stuff? Tell us how you gather all that together.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. So it kind of depends on what people want. Some clients will give you like creative license, like
Mm.
they don't care, just do something. This last shoot was creative license. They just said, "Hey, let's come out, blah blah. Blah. Do you have any particular thing?" No, not really. It was like send her a couple of shots of where might be taking a photo. Oh, yeah, that looks great, blah blah blah, and that was it.
Mm.
Some people though, I would ask like your clients, hey, send me a pose that you like, or send me possibly a photo of like what kind of background you're thinking of, where you would like to be. Do you want train tracks around you? Do you want an urban setting? Do you want
Mhm.
a nature setting? Like what is your style? And then that way you have a shot list and you're going through it, getting all the shots that you want with certain poses and things like that. And you say, I'm going to deliver 10 edited images. I'm going to per wardrobe change. I'm going to, edit 12, 15, whatever. But they've gotten a certain look that they want. And then that also frees you up from anything where somebody's like, oh, I didn't like how that turned out.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, but that's what you chose, and that's what I wanted to do for you because we're looking at me putting my professional edits on your location at that moment. So that's that's also helpful and a very good question. One thing I want to talk to you about because locations aren't just lifestyle shoots; they're everywhere, right? They're
Mhm.
in wedding photography, engagement photography, nature, all of that. How do you go? Because I know you've shot several different things. You've shot weddings, you've shot nature and stuff like that. How do you go about your process in shooting both?
Shooting both as in wedding in nature or like
Yeah. Like,
each one individual?
well, just how do you go about choosing a wedding location? Like, I might want to shoot someone here or there.
Mm.
And your wife shoots as well.
Mhm.
So, how do y'all kind of go over that process? And then you've done photos for couples and stuff like that too. Like, I guess just not engagement photos or wedding photos, but just the whole process of that. And then
How do we do our process? When me and my wife go shooting, whenever we've done weddings in the past, what we like to do is to make sure and sit down, like have a coffee date with the bride and groom,
okay.
and really kind of pick their brains, like what kind of theme are y'all going for? How did y'all meet?
Right.
Have you done engagement photos yet? Let us see those. Kind of get a feel of what they like and what they're looking for. Sometimes they may not. Whenever they book a photographer, they may not have the venue booked yet. They may not know what theme they're going for. They're just trying to get people booked. So, that may be something that you commit to, kind of blind going into, like, yeah, okay, we'll do this. So it's best to sit down with them and really talk to them about what they're expecting, what the venue looks like. And so we can we can kind of get a better idea of what they're looking for. So some of the things that we can prepare for is, is two photographers going to be enough?
Mm,
How big is this venue? How many people are coming? Do we need three photographers? The most photographers we've taken has been four. And luckily we had friends who were willing to help us out with that, because when it came down to it, plans had changed and they were like, oh, hey, by the way, it's going to be double the head count, and we changed the
wow.
venue.
Yeah.
So we were like, "Oh my goodness!" I mean, we only have two cameras, and uh, so we had to scramble. And luckily, we had some friends who were willing to help us out, and we were able to get what we needed to get the job done.
Yeah.
And I just thank goodness, as before I had a drone, because I'd been droning it everywhere. I have not had the chance to do a wedding with a drone yet, but I'm very excited to try it soon. So once we sit down and get a feel of kind of what they're looking for, and it's getting closer to the wedding day, now we want to maybe have another meeting with them.
Mhm.
And it's worth it with these weddings, because you can stand to make up to thousands of dollars, doing these photo shoots for them. So
Yeah.
it's best to get it done right. So what we'll like to do is have sit down and create a shot list.
Yeah.
So with the bride's side, you want picture of these two people together, standing out by the train tracks, whatever. And then the groom's side, we need a picture of them all doing a shot. We need a picture of him tying his tie, putting on his shoes, blah blah blah. We need a picture of them walking down the aisle. You make sure and bang out each photo that they're going to expect you to have.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because if you don't have that shot list ahead of time, you're going to get into producing these pictures later, and then they're going to be like, "Well, where's the picture of Aunt Sarah?"
Yeah.
You'd be like, "Aunt Sarah? Who's Aunt Sarah?"
Mhm.
Well, she was sitting third row back. She's not with us anymore, and it'd have been nice to have a picture with her. Well,
Yeah.
you didn't tell us, like, it wasn't on the shot list. Like, we got, Uncle Bob, but we didn't get Aunt Sarah.
Yeah.
You didn't tell us to get her. So it's good to have that. So that way, if anything comes up, you can kind of fall back in it, and it gives you some guidance during the wedding. So
Mm,
if you kind of, oh man, what's coming up next? Oh, okay, the eating of the cake is coming up next, so we need to start positioning ourselves to get ready to take it on the cake.
mm.
So locations with weddings obviously are a little bit out of your control.
Oh, yeah.
Now, when it comes to engagement photos or out in the wilderness or whatever, when we go out into the wilderness, we just kind of, hey, we're taking a vacation, and let's get on all trails and see, which hikes are the best and which have the prettiest views, and what are somewhat easy, because I'm not that athletic. I'm not going to go climbing a mountain for a sunset picture. But
Mm,
I do love a good hike, and usually we'll just, hey, this seems to be a good hike right here. Let's take it, and usually find pretty good shots while we're on the hikes.
mm.
Engagement photos, or just couple photos, whatever. You kind of just tell them where you're going to take them.
Okay.
What are you looking for? Here's what we're going to do.
Yeah. And I think that's uh, all those are very like pivotal points too, because when you think about it, for the average or hobbyist that's listening to this podcast right now, people always wonder like, why are wedding photographers and so expensive and this and that? Well, majority of the time, it's you want someone that's going to charge you a certain amount because that level and attention to detail is you need that.
Hmm.
If there's a certain thing that you need to capture and you want to capture for your wedding, you need that because for me, shooting lifestyle and some sports and other things, I can go back to somebody and I can say, hey, that shoot was terrible.
Hmm.
And do you mind coming out shooting again? We can rechange, money and all these other things. You can't do that on a wedding.
Hmm.
You don't get the second, another chance at the kiss. Like they're not going to come back and say, "Hey, I'm going to get in my wedding dress and recreate this for you."
Now you can, like, after the ceremony's done, you could be
Mm,
like, all right, I need to get the groomsmen together to do it. But what Harrison's saying is that you're not going to recreate those once in a lifetime moments. You're not going to recreate him seeing her walk down the aisle for the first time in her wedding dress. You're not going to recreate,
no,
them introducing Mr. and Mrs. whoever,
right.
for the first time, and everybody's expressions. Like, you can't go back and recreate those moments. And if you're not ready for it and you don't know what you're doing, and you didn't pay for somebody
Hmm.
who knew or had the equipment or anything like that,
Yep.
like, you're just kind of SOL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a big thing. And talking about it even more, I mean, what's just going on in my head is location, location, location. Like just knowing ahead of time, I'm gonna be here and shoot the shot, and then have a license for creativity as well. Like, oh, I like how the light's reflecting off of this window that's hitting the light in
Hmm.
this corner or whatever. Having that and saying, okay, this is what I like to shoot. This is how I like to shoot. These are the sports photos for sports photographers where you like to shoot.
Hmm.
These are the family portraits and styles that I like to shoot. And this is where I'm going to do it. And also, I would say, if you're going to get out of what you already like doing and going to something else, investigate heavily into the locations.
Hmm.
Because so for me, I haven't shot a lot of nature or landscapes and things like that, but you have. So I'd probably contact you and say, hey, what's some things I need to know about landscape? And I know
Yep.
you'd probably say, hey, you're going to need a tripod. For me as a lifestyle photographer, I don't really use a tripod. My shutter speeds are really fast because I'm
Hmm.
doing a lot of things handheld. Whereas if I was shooting, uh, what is it, a landscape, then I'm going to need a tripod because some of those shots I'm going to want to get with a
Or
lower shutter speed
or a monopod. I
or a
mean,
monopod.
let's not just put it
Yeah.
down on the tripods.
Yeah, or monopod. So, location, location, location.
Yep.
I think that's huge.
Yeah, and I heard you talking about something else when you were talking about the wedding and hiring a photographer.
Yeah.
Something triggered in the back of my mind of, people don't understand. how much, why they're paying so much for a photographer. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just a camera. You're just taking a picture and then, doing
Yeah.
something. I think what people don't realize who aren't in the photography world is that you're going to spend so much time
Mhm.
post editing.
Mhm.
Even the best photographer. I mean, whenever I started doing weddings, I mean, it was just, just a barrage of pictures. You just never stop. You just, every time,
Yeah.
because it was better to have 1,000 pictures and capture two good ones than it was to take 200 pictures and be like, oh, well, I only caught, maybe one.
Right.
So, even you guys who are wanting to start out in wedding photography and stuff, like, you're gonna be taking a lot of pictures and it's
Mhm.
gonna take a lot of time. Like, you're gonna spend a lot of time sorting
Yeah.
through them and editing, and you've already promised so many pictures to these couples, so they're
Mhm.
gonna expect, 200 pictures of the whole entire thing
Yeah.
or whatever you promise them. And so, it's going to take some time. So don't
Yeah.
be afraid to charge what you're worth. And people who are hiring a photographer, like, calm down.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, yeah.
it's the more money you pay.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully, like, you're getting what you're
Yeah.
paying for. So if you pay $100 for somebody to come shoot your wedding, you're probably going to get $100 photographer with a
Yeah.
wind up camera.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well, and that too is, and that comes down to, and we could talk about this later, but with workflows and things like that, we'll make that into an episode later. Um, it the days and time and what you have to spend, especially beginning. Like, I think I spent like 2 or 3 days straight editing like 20 photos my first shoot, and the little nuances and stuff like that. So my point to that is, you're also paying for the skills
mhm.
that the photographer has as well. You're not just paying for the compositions that they can make and all these other things. Like, shooting is so easy. Like, it's when you know the art of shooting, it's easy because all you got to do is go like this. You sit me down in front of a computer, and now I've got to retouch and do all these things and
Yeah.
take this out and put this in. It's a whole different ball game. So you're paying for a photographer slash editor at the same time, and that's something that I think is lost, especially now that we're in the smartphone world.
Mhm.
Is everyone takes a picture with their cell phone and they're like, oh, this is good. This is good enough. Yeah, and admittedly so, as a photographer, yeah, cell phones are good. They can be good in certain arenas.
Mhm.
They can. Nothing's wrong with a cell phone. But when you're using $1,000 lens or $1,000 camera body, it's not even close. Like, you start pixel peeping, or like, you just zoom in just a little bit. And what you'll see is, with cell phones and technology of that nature, there's certain things that you can't retouch. It's just, you've got to take the image as it is. You might be overexposed, you might be this, you might be
Mm.
that. You just got to
Mhm.
take it as it is.
Yep.
So photographers are expensive for a reason. And the time, if you ever want to know, is it worth it or not? And
To be a photographer?
no, 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 to have a photographer,
Oh, yes.
do an event and don't have a photographer and shoot your heart out, like shoot 3, 4, 500 photos, and then try to edit them down, see what you can come up with and how long it takes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's your own event, I mean, it's worth having somebody step in.
Yeah.
Okay. Question of the week, guys. What is your process whenever you're getting ready for a photo shoot? How do you prepare before you go meet with the client? Whether it be a wedding, travel, engagement,
Mhm.
lifestyle photography. What do you do? And also, did you get anything out of this video whenever you listened to it on the podcast or watched it on YouTube? Please share with us in the comments. Let us know what you think about it, what your process is. Share any tips and tricks, guys. Let's see what anybody else can come up with. What are we missing here?
Yeah.
For anyone listening on the podcast, please make sure you like this, rate us, and leave us a comment. It really does help with our ratings. And on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. That way, you can get the updates weekly as we put them out. I think these are going to start coming out every Wednesday.
Yeah.
All right. All right, guys. Well, until next time, we appreciate y'all listening.
Yeah.
Harrison, you got anything?
Uh, Make sure, you share your tips and tricks. This is a creative space. We want everyone to add in everything. We want to learn as well. Um, then one way to reach us is through our new email, which is
It is our new email is contact
mhm,
be podcast at gmail.com.
yeah, and your Instagram.
My Instagram, you can uh, holler at me at my Instagram at ben.bailey. That is Bailey
Mhm,
dot 85.
yeah, and mine is Eaddy.content, EADDY dot content. All right.
All right. I think
Well,
that'll do it.
yeah.
Till next time.